Welcome, my friends. This is Maniacal Incorporated, and we start today's episode in a very lonesome, a very empty-looking Scottish throne room. They're down to just 2 court grandeur, and part of the reason for that is because they have just 1 artifact, this banner. And if we know anything about the court, the fact that they have been reduced to just the 1 artifact means that the stone or stain of Scone is gone. This is the chair, the fancy chair that the King of Scotland usually sits on. A reference to the coronation stone that kings of Scotland would have used during their coronation, still used in the coronation of the British monarchs of today. Legend has it that it is the Leafole, the Stone of Destiny, that was taken from Ireland, that had been split in half by Cuchulainn when his foster son, Uí Néill, stood on it, and it didn't shout out for him, so the legend was that it would shout out when the true High King of Ireland stood upon it, and Cuchulainn split it in half, and it was worked into the battlements of a fort that was believed to have stood at Tara, and Concaid Cahach, when he was walking around the battlements, he stood upon the stones and they shouted out. But one of the legends is that it was taken from Ireland and that it is now the Stone of Scone. And now it's been taken from the Scottish court. Where could it possibly have gone to? So it's had a rather confused history. It was of course taken by Peggy when we installed her as Queen of Scotland. Then it went to Bridget. It says here seized by Bridget. I'm not too sure if that's right. It would make sense to have been seized from her in one of the wars against her reign that ended up deposing her. Or possibly when she was driven out of the duchy, it ended up passing to Tovna. And Tovna has now passed it on to her son, Edmund, who, as I pointed out before, has claims to the Kingdom of England. And I was thinking at one stage of actually installing him as the King of England. It would make sense, I suppose that somebody who can't form a court couldn't hold on to the item, so maybe that's how he ended up with it. But anyway, this guy has it. Maybe if we're nice to him, he might give it to us. And even if our vassal was to give us the Stone of Scone, where the hell would we put it? Could we hang it off the wall? Because we're running out of space. I have added the book that we received in the last episode. I didn't even know there was a slot in behind the back of the throne, but we can reach back whenever we want to read a few pages. Gives us a bit of prestige and more monthly learning lifestyle experience. That brings us up to 43. It was at 42. So we're able to mow through the learning lifestyle. I'm not so sure that's something I want, though. Now that we can challenge people to duels to get rid of some stress, or at least to inflict stress on them, I was thinking about going down the martial lifestyle. I think we'll stay with learning for a while and try to improve his health. But whenever we want to, we can reach back and read some Dune. And to bring our tour of some courts to an end, we will come to France. We can see that they're currently working on a sculpture. So the wall looks a bit bare. You could do with a bit of a decoration for the wall. We are going to gift Robert the 6th of France. Look at all these things. I think it's way down at the bottom. We are going to gift him the Thanks for the Troops tapestry. So this was completed an episode or 2 ago. It's okay. 0.04 prestige per night and court grandeur bonus +2. We have no space for it. It's not as good as any of the stuff that we have already. So we're going to gift him that as a thank you for the assistance in that massive war that we had against England. I hope he puts it up somewhere. And like I said, we now have the ability to... We can duel people. That's one thing. We can also lash out. So we're going to lash out for an entire year to lose some stress. Doesn't tell us how much. There's a 50% chance that we insult a random vassal, or that we decrease opinion with all vassals. Hey! Hey you! In the bushes! So it's a coping mechanism. It looks like we have... Have we lashed out against Arthur? As soon as all vassals are seated and Duke Arthur starts talking, I smile intensely. Duke Arthur, isn't your wife cheating with Rory in Wales? Oh wait, no. Sorry to interrupt. But why are you always such a solitary knave? And you, Mayor Lochena, were you born a boar? Or did that develop later in life? My god, man, calm down. So, lashing out, we lose 24 stress for a year, so we can lash out again in another year's time and insult some people. And we're still stressed. We are told that Louis, our brother-in-law, will now possibly think about coming to court. We will invite him to court, and the King of France has gotten himself a lovely banner, and he's delighted with it. Fair play to him. And there it is, hanging in pride of place in the royal court of the Kingdom of France. He's after cinthering his chair in the dead middle of it to cover up that bit that that Killen suggested that didn't come out very well. So hopefully he'll remember that the next time that we need more troops from France. And it has taken us a long time, but here he is. Our brother-in-law, Louis, has arrived in our court. His children have been here for a while, and we've been educating some of them. I haven't married them off to anyone, and I'm glad of that, because what we're probably going to try and do... I know that I wanted to restore him to Aquitaine. I like this idea, however. So I think at the very least we're going to try and take the Duchy of Leon, and even if we can't form the kingdom, if we can restore him to Aquitaine, worst comes to worst, he'll be our vassal while he is the Duke of Leon. So we'll see what chaperon we can cause down that end of the world later on. But we really do need to begin this entire process, unfortunately. We are going to declare war for... Seize the Duchy of Kirken is 90. And what's the cheapest? Yeah, sure, whatever. It's all the same. So we've indeed gotten our troops up ahead of the Scottish. The awkward thing is that it is poor Quadruple B who is commanding our forces. We might as well split them in half. We will at the very least send... I think we'll have to send the two of them in. And we can keep them split and sort them out later on. There's also a bit of a mini civil war going on up here. People are trying to break away from our brother Omlieb's control. Ron Koo was wounded. He's been causing trouble. And now that she's back in court, I think she's been in court for a while actually, our dear friend Tofla. She's heard that we've been screaming at people, and possibly she's going to try and encourage us to restore her husband to power somewhere in the world, so we will lose 72 stress and we stop being stressed. Finally. We have no dedicated siege commander, so that position is going to be left to our brother-in-law, Louis. What force is this here? This is probably one of the ones involved in the anarchy that's going on here. I thought I saw the Scottish forces moving in some direction. They are indeed moving across into Ulster, so I suppose we will send Quadruple B's army down. Do you know what? We'll hit this army for the crack. They have a better commander, but they have disembarked. We'll see what's going on here first of all. Roan Coup is scheming against Reinhold. Roan Coup is our steward. We have seen a better steward join the court of recent. He is wounded. He's fine. What'll happen if we throw him in jail? Does he have money? He does. Throw him in jail. There's no actual need for us to go in against this army. They have moved on, and this is, of course, our brother-in-law's territory. So we'll pretend that we were doing that for his benefit. Yeah, that's why we were doing it. If we change commander, and we do actually have one or two better commanders than Quadruple B, but if we change, we're told that that we're going to suffer an even bigger penalty. I don't think there was any need of sending this army down, because we're going to have Gary in a second. Oh lord, you absolute devil. This is, so there's been a war, 2 demands, and an actual battle for the book. You really want this book. We will, as always, decline. We'll just take a quick look at him. He can put together about 1100, is that all? He still has that alliance with Sweden. Halstein is dead. Gout-ridden. So they still have very well-equipped troops. We will, of course, decline. God damn him, he really wants that book. We're just seeing troops wandering around everywhere. Ulster, or not Ulster, but Scotland's forces are leaving. So we might as well just turn around and wander back and I suppose start sieging another area. We have managed to lift that siege in a way. I imagine they'll just turn around and go straight back in. How many of our children have come of age in the middle of a war? It seems to be the majority of them. I am proud to see my son no longer as a child, but as a slightly bigger child. So we were teaching him ourselves, I believe, and he was on the diplomacy lifestyle. So we wouldn't have been teaching him. I have no idea who was teaching him. So this is Murdoch, our son and heir. 13 diplomacy, not too shabby. He is married to or is engaged to the daughter of the King of France. It's a good thing that I spun the camera up in this direction. Look who is back. Long time no see. Where are they actually raiding? Are they raiding Scotland? I don't think they're raiding Fife. If they go for Fife, we're in a bit of trouble. Because, like I said, that's where the Stone of Scone is. We gave him a banner that said, "Thanks for the troops." And now he needs our troops. This is interesting. I call on you to honour our alliance to join me in the war for Herbert's claim on the Kingdom of France. So, somebody is attacking him. We'll be joining as a defender. Who is Herbert? The suffragan bishop. How many Herberts are there? Because I thought it was going to be Herbert, the court jester, who was the son of the... Oh, Humbert. It's all the same to me. So a bishop is attempting to install himself or to be installed as the formerly married bishop with kids. And they give out about the Irish. We will accept. Our major problem is that we're bankrupt, so I'm not too sure how we're going to be able to get the forces across. What direction is Iceland going in? Because, of course, if they do wander up into our territory, they're staying away from there at the moment. Scotland might well actually get that siege completed. And of course, this is the problem with becoming dependent on tons and tons of alliances. I knew this day would come. Another war in France we will accept. We did indeed lose the war up in, or the, not the war, but the siege in Scotland. Here is the one and only battle that we fought in the Scottish capital. Duke Richard of Lothian was killed. He's of the House of Dunbar. He was killed by Ishka Moore. So if he's in Lothian and he's the Duke, I'm trying to see. So he is indeed, here is William, Richard's father. And then here is William's brother, our brother-in-law. No, he's not our brother-in-law anymore. He's our aunt's husband, Gospatrick. So he is indeed distantly... well, he's not related, but he's a member of the Wyther family. Roan Coo. I thought we arrested you before the battle, or did we arrest you in the middle of it? I'd better actually release him before he dies. I remember there a few minutes ago asking, where are we going to get the money to get to France? Roan Coo gave us 100 quid. Here was somebody that we captured. Not great stats, but I've recruited them, and I'm basically just going to use their name to try and recruit some knights, maybe. So, Sandra. We're going to go up. I don't think we'll hit Scotland's armies, but we should be able to siege down this area fairly quickly. I imagine Scotland is going to go all the ways around to Ulster. We'll complete the siege down here. I thought Iceland and these troops are going to go in against each other. The Queen of Croatia has died. The Queen of Croatia has died. I'm not too sure how that is going to affect things. And we are now getting into a scenario where there's actually very few places left to siege down. We could run into trouble soon and have to start ending some of these sieges. And so, after all of that, House Dál Fiatach has fallen. There is a new dynasty in control of the Kingdom of Croatia. It is losing heavily, well, not heavily, against Ealhcu's attempts to install his brother to restore the Dál Fiatach. So that war had been going on for quite some time. What did his mother die of? Her wounds. And their father, I think, died a while back. 1139, so she was married again there recently to Gaspar the Impaler. We can see that Byzantium has encroached on Croatia. So I'm not too sure how much longer the region will exist for. But hopefully the Dál Fiatach can retake it and start pushing the... that was 7 point something there for a while. So we've lost one because we had two kings and now we just have the one. God damn it, Croatia. Oh, thank God. They know that I need money. Laura has up in Alloch. He's going to give us 50 quid. We accept your generous gifts. Thank you very much. Badly needed. His father died from his wounds just a couple of days before our father drank himself to death. We've retaken this region. We're pretty much just sieging down random places now. Trying to bring this to an end the way we can get to France. We've ended up in an interesting scenario. We are at war with Aquitaine. With the Kingdom of Aquitaine. So, Louis, who is actually commanding our main army with the... or not our main army, but the army with the siege weaponry. He'll be going home for the first time in a while. Here's our son Patrick. He claimed he'd learned a lesson about not reaching for more than one can handle following a death sentence. So overreaching can be dangerous. We could make him temperate. Health boost, piety, yeah, absolutely. The war for Gari is taking longer than expected. We've been dragged into 2 wars in France, including one against Aquitaine, the territory that our brother-in-law's father was deposed from. His wife, our sister, tells us that she has something important to discuss. Something to help with the course of the war, maybe? No. She set up a dancing troupe. According to my new methods, they not only sing, but wear tights, don ornate codpieces atop their glimmering loins, and dance in a synchronized fashion, all amidst praising God, of course. I'm certain if you fund a grand performance, it will most please the ladies of the court. And it just struck me that it will most likely please Crusader as well, and one of his knights, Peter, who was flirting with him at one stage. We could tell our sister, my gorge rises. That's not something you should be telling close members of your family. She'd be put in prison, she'd become a criminal, and we would gain 50 piety. I think because of our friendship that we wouldn't do that. Cease thy yapping, and relieve me of my promissory notes. All ladies of your court will gain 10 opinion, and we lose 115 gold, and Ulster gets an all-male choir. Popular opinion plus 20. I'm sure their tights are too much for me to be, for the for the ladies to bear. Lose 10 opinion for 10 years and lose 3 court grandeur, as much as Crusader would absolutely love to go with this option. We don't have the money. And the court is worse off for it. We have a rather distressing pop-up there in the right-hand corner. First thing we'll deal with is our spymaster has learned that somebody is trying to kill one of our knights. This is the husband of Banmead, daughter of Leinchuk. Where have all of you people gone to? So Ulster, deceased, Ulster. So you've all come back. You're in your son's court. So she got married again, actually, after he was also killed in battle. I remember him popping up somewhere. And this is the guy that I was looking for. He's also back in Ulster, but he's commanding one of the companies. So yeah, they all left our court after we allowed their mother to die in prison. Anyway, the thing that I noticed... There we go. Look at him. Nothing in this world is certain, especially in times of war. The Irish de jure war for the earldom of Gari has been no different, as this conflict is no longer against King Ranald, but against King Duff. It would be wise to reevaluate the situation. My goal is still the same. Go on out of that. We'll be having none of that. So, yeah, the kid has been deposed. And we're now about to take his only county. Ah, you poor thing. But that, of course, makes things awkward for us, because we had been dependent on using his presence on the throne to declare war for Scotland. And we're not in a position to do that anymore. And indeed, Iceland has decided that it is going to start sieging down Fife, and like I said, that is a bit problematic, because if they manage to seize the throne, the actual throne, another war, yeah, I'm sure. Look, we'll be over in a minute. We're just having some problems. This is all sheer and utter anarchy. We've been told that Bridget's husband has vacated his position as court tutor. He's gone away off somewhere. I think anatomical studies. We have a lifestyle perk. We'll go for anatomical studies for now. And we will probably take... I don't know about restraint next. I think we'll go for this one, because we do seem to be fairly stressed. And if we are going to be screaming at people to relieve stress, I would like to get more stress knocked off as part of that. Iceland, the Devils are after heading away out to sea. Let's see if we can put a better commander in charge of that army. Not really. So we're going to send our... one of our armies down in this direction. What we can do is simply leave an army besieging that area. We'll have to send them in. They've lifted the siege. Fantastic. So we can just park them right there for now, until we get these two armies together. Our alliance with Upper Burgundy has ended. We have so many alliances now at this stage, I have to check. Is that somebody one of my sisters is married to? I believe it is. It would be fantastic now if we could hit this main Scottish army. Aragon has joined on our side. I thought they had joined against us. It would have been handy if they joined against us. We're not doing great in this battle, and we're getting a ton of pop-ups. We're not doing as good as I would have liked. Oh god, more pop-ups. In the middle of this battle, we've taken out a big heap of brass orbs and our copy of Dune. And God only knows what we're at. We are trying to spot the form of angels. Reinhold is having none of it. So, 80% chance we convince him to join us, or 20% chance he loses 5 opinion. And if we convince him, we get 100 lifestyle learning experience. We will go for that, and that's exactly what we get. We do manage to win that battle. We're only at 67% war score. We have sieged this area. Oh lord. I think at one stage in the last episode we could put together alliances of 32,000. Well, there is 2.5, or close to 2,500 gone. Our sister, Cranach, her husband, the Duke of Burgundy, the Duke of Upper Burgundy, has died. It does not look like we are in a position to negotiate an alliance, not now anyway, in the midst of a war. It doesn't look like we're in a position to negotiate an alliance with our nephew. While those forces are heading across in that direction very quickly, we will just take a look at the results of that big battle that we had. Somebody was wounded. Lots of knights wounded, so they've headed off in one direction. Entirely likely, actually, that they're going to make for Ireland. And Louis has been wounded. He's not the greatest of knights. And Ishkamur has been wounded. Well, this is awkward. Having served me faithfully as my spymaster, I entrusted Yer with the ability to travel freely within the court, or at least that's how I think her name is pronounced. And now she has been having relations with my son and heir. So she didn't have any children with her own fairly high intrigue husband, but she's going after my son. Yeah, we don't have much of a choice but to imprison her. And before starting that battle over there, we're going to have to see who we can try and put in as a replacement. At the moment, the highest intrigue individual is the wife of our executioner. What could go wrong? And that is a bit of a tragedy, because she was a tremendous spymaster, served our father, financed a lot of his later wars by finding secrets. We have finally put an end to this conflab. We can enforce our demands. Greetings, High King Crusader of Ireland. Blessings upon you and your house. Thank you very much. We've had generally good relations with the Scottish courts, so it's a pity that it's ended up in this scenario. I'm not too sure how on Stephen's death this guy didn't end up. I know how on Stephen's death this guy didn't end up as the king. There's Stephen. There's Flora. So there is his eldest son Malcolm, and I presume it was Malcolm's son that succeeded Malcolm, predeceased him. So be it. My intention had been declare war for Carrick, install Bridget there, declare war for the rest of Scotland and install Bridget, and Bridget would have everything except for this duchy. As much as I would like to be in a position to give this duchy also over to Bridget, Lieb is there at the moment, and he's happy out. He's not doing too bad, so we'll leave him there. Cats, cats, cats. It's genuinely difficult to see what is going on here. Aquitaine, this region here, is a big chunk actually. Our mother-in-law's territory, our mother-in-law's duchy, is at war. We're at war with her. Holland, Schleswig. Unfortunately, it's not all of Denmark, because then we could have attacked this region. Now, I would try to land here, maybe even in Holland. Our only problem is that the Danish forces have 4,000, and Amsterdam has 4,000. So if we were to land there, we'd be in a bit of trouble. We could land down in Aquitaine, cause some trouble. I think Louis would be calling for us to hit Aquitaine. What do Aquitaine's forces look like? 3,800. And there, of course, is 7,000 under our mother-in-law. There's 4,300 coming up from the south. I'm not even too sure where the main French armies are. They're up here. Should we try and meet up with them? I think that would make the most sense. And they're in that final battle that brought the war for Gary to an end. No major kills or no major achievements. However, I think it was the first time that we ended up on the wrong side fighting against our aunt's husband, Duke Gospatrick of Lothian. When did you become the Duke of Lothian? That's new. Fair play to you. Because I thought we were installing you there at one stage. Let's dismiss this. So he was installed by a faction demand late last year, because we helped to install his sister by a faction demand against Richard, who retook the region, and then he was killed by Ishkamur in this battle. So that's the anarchy that we created. There was Richard's father, so their sister inherited, then Richard seized it from her, then it went back to their sister, then it went back to Richard, and then we killed him in battle. So I presume Richard's son took control, and a faction has installed Duke Gospatrick. So the great thing is that he now has lots of troops, a lot more than he had previously. Now he probably hates us though, because we did fight against him. We're going ahead for Holland. Well, that's kind of made the decision for us. I was thinking, what were we going to do with her? Our son's 52-year-old girlfriend has died in our dungeons. Our dungeons are not a good place to be. Anyone that we think about executing tends to die. The dungeons are a bad place. And while we are down in the dungeons trying to figure out what to do with our dead spymaster, who ranks up there with Ernmagar as one of the great spymasters of the kingdom. She was basically recruited when we knew that he was going to be retiring. And as we're trying to figure out what to do with her body, some peddlers, Gaelic peddlers, tell us about a hammer. They know that we like hammers. This sounds like social engineering. You're trying to get my credit card number, you absolute divils. Because we're paranoid, we will suffer 80 stress, 230 gold for a hammer. Go way out of that. What tripe? Get out of it. We got a pop up there a while ago that our wife was pregnant. We have had a daughter. Dove deal. There's a bad branch of the O'Rourke family with names in the... no, that's even worse. Scahach. Sure. Strong, wise, etc. Scahach, if I am correct, was one of the women who trained Cuchulainn, basically. We're still badly caught for a siege engineer. I've moved the army so that they won't be taking as much attrition. These guys are still suffering attrition. They are under the command of William. We have the French forces with us, but we are losing 2 of the wars. Our finances are being ate away, but we can return to Pope Sylvester and ask him for a bit more gold. And while we're down here, if we look at Croatia, we can see that there is a truce. And there has been a failure to restore Dál Fiatach control to Croatia. And there's now another attempt, I think, for this southern bit of Italy to split off. So I think the days of Dál Fiatach rule in Croatia have come to an end, and it's looking likely that soon enough Croatia itself will come to an end. I didn't actually check. I thought it was only 250 he was giving us. 337 gold. Thank you very much. That'll keep us going a while. And we could very well, if we thought we needed it, think about hiring some mercenaries. We've taken a chunk of people captive. We don't seem to have done... I was going to say we don't seem to have done anything with the war score, but this one's gone up to 68 now. I don't know where we can and can't go. This is the only other region that we could have gotten to siege down, belonging to Holland. I presume France is going to go in there, so we might have to kind of just plant ourselves somewhere and regroup. Or is France going in and giving battle to somebody? They're going to try and siege down some areas, so yeah, we can try and complete this siege of Holland. Which one is our army with the mangonels? There we go. And we can plant you boys somewhere else. We'll just bring them down here the way they're not... I was going to say the way they're not losing attrition, but what we could do is help them to lose attrition, send them over here to help with the siege. I am so disappointed. I read this wrong. I thought his name was Bruno von Claw. What a name that would have been. We can ransom him back to his liege for a tenner. Absolutely not. Look what this man has. We will recruit him, and it looks like he will indeed join. So we captured him in a siege of Holland, and we are now going to gang press him into serving in the army and completing the remaining siege that we have in this region. So we will get him to Bether explain to us. I hope he's there. He is. Bether explain to us how our siege weapons work. He'd know the parts of the wall to hit. He'd know what parts of the walls are weakest. Here is our new spy master. I gotten an idea in my attempts to align Monadonna to my interests. With the right arguments, I may be able to convince her that I am acting not merely in my own interest, but in the interests of the Lord himself. A 95% chance that she's convinced. We gain prestige, she gains opinion. So I am trying to sway her. I was wondering why I was getting these. Our opinion is, it's 27, but I'm trying to sway her. Again, with my paranoia, I would believe that it is in my best interest to get my spy masters on side. We are losing war score. France is losing war score rapidly in this battle. And by rapidly, I mean I just saw it go from 49 to 50 to 51. So this is the bit of a problem. We're going to see... No, we're not. I thought Holland and the Dutch and Danish forces were going to come for that 6k army. They're not. Our only worry is if they start moving out from here. And in for a penny, in for a pound, we might as well. Except the marriage between Murdoch and Emma, the daughter of Robert, who we are helping with some of his wars. The only big problem is that... and Patrick comes of age. We were preparing you, learning lifestyle. They grow up so fast. I know the forces here have dropped by about 1,000. So victory in the war against Holland. We helped. What did we get? 20 prestige. Yes. Totally worth it. So be it. And we actually see the Danish army has disappeared. That would make sense. They were probably involved in that war. What do we do at this point in time? I would be suggesting that we're going to begin to march in this direction, but I'm going to have to see what the French do. I would much rather if the French would put their efforts into dealing with the guys down here. So it's only a 4k army, but it is causing a lot of trouble and winning a lot of war score. I remember at the end of the last episode when I said, join me in the next one when we try and turn England into a mess. We haven't even looked at England. Just off the shore, we can see Aragon arriving with its troops, and this explains to us how Aragon has become involved in the war. The Queen of Aragon has married one of the sons of Robert IV. So she is going to be a sister-in-law to our son, who is married to one of Charles's sisters. I've just seen that he's going to inherit the kingdom of Burgundy. So you're going to have potentially Aragon and Burgundy going to a single child. We weren't in a position to form any alliances there. We couldn't get any non-matrilineal marriages, and we didn't really have anyone in a good age category to marry, so we haven't been able to solidify any alliances with Aragon, unfortunately, but they have wandered in, or they are wandering in, as we try and decide what to do. So we barely managed to take a county in Scotland. We're on the verge of losing that county, because the kid that still controls it, the former king of Scotland, he's going to inherit a duchy, and he's going to pull that county out and back into Scotland. We'll just go to war for it again. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and I hope you will join me on the next one when we try and clear up at least one more, if not the other two of these wars that we're in.